All right, there we are. All right, finally. All right, so let's take it from the top. So what's going to happen here today is I'm going to demonstrate a Blackbird multi-viewer in 1080p. And a multi-viewer is somewhere where you would basically use a number of different HDMI inputs and basically multiplex them into one view and then output into a single HDMI cable. So what you're seeing here that I'm kind of streaming in the overlay now is essentially what you see here, right? So this is coming out from this Blackbird in a single HDMI cable, and it also carries audio, as you saw what was fiddling with there. And it basically gives you these like 4 different views. Like, so here's my play camera, you got my playfield camera here, score camera right there, and I also have my B cam up there, right? And what this basically does at the end of the day is that it simplifies a lot of things, right? Because all of a sudden you only have to deal with one capture signal, and that means that you can capture everything from a single USB source. The signal that comes out of the multi-viewer is 1080p 60, right? You can kind of tweak that. You can actually dial it down, and you can dial it up to 1920 1200. But it has a bunch of stupid things I want to show you. And the thing is that if you look at, I don't think I can show it. It comes kind of with a remote. I don't know how well you can see that, and it kind of has these different scenes here. Right, so now I'm kind of running in the quad scene, and I can switch to running it in single view, right? And what happens here now is that it obviously switches to the camera mic. It probably sounds like crap, right? So that's one thing to be wary of there. And then back to my view I had here. Oh, okay, so it actually saves the mic. So that's the confusing thing when I've been showing this off. Okay, so I need to go back to my camera source, right? The right camera source. But at the end of the day, I just want to show this. I'm going to show this with crap audio. I'll fiddle that later. One other thing is that you have the view where you basically have this particular view where it compresses the different. 2 of the sources get compressed. Same thing in this view is that it compresses the view. Or the source, and in this view as well you will have the smaller 3 ones on the side there, and then you have the larger one, like my input one, which is the playfield. So you can basically compress that and get the right ratio or whatever, but it won't look as, I don't think it will look as good because the other cameras are really small, so if you want to kind of blow them up, it will not look as good, right? So let me just go back to my full view here and switch the camera input. There we go. So now you can actually hear me again. You can also switch off the overlay here and remove that cross there. And you can also kind of hit the OSD button again, and you will then see the different resolutions of the inputs, and also what you can see in the bottom of the playfield there, the res, right? So that's the output resolution, 1920 times 1080 60p, and you can kind of cycle through that. There's a res button, a little blue button there that allows you to change that. So you can go all the way down to 1084, 768 in a square. Oh, well, not square, a 4:3 aspect ratio. Yeah, but this is the view I'm going to run with today and kind of demo the whole thing. Yeah, it is a infrared remote, so beware of that. And at the end of the day, I'm just going to play Twilight Zone because that's what I did on my last stream, and it is more of being able to do like an A/B kind of comparison, what the actual video will look like. So I will cut a highlight from the previous stream, and I will cut a highlight from this stream, put them on YouTube, and kind of put them in a playlist there, and then you will be able to see and compare one versus the other, and you can kind of determine for yourself if a multi-viewer is something that you would consider to have in your workflow. One thing that it kind of one neat thing that it also adds, like if you're streaming pinball tournaments where you want everything wireless in your setup, then all of a sudden you only have to deal with one wireless signal, right? And you can have 4 cameras hanging on the rig at the machine and only have one transmitter from the rig and one receiver. And that simplifies a lot. I mean, it's definitely much cheaper, but it's also a lot simpler because you will then know that every camera is in perfect sync because everything is going in through the same multi-viewer and out through one signal, right? There's also another benefit to it, something I kind of cooked up in the back of my head while, so like I was just thinking, so what would I actually do with a 4th camera in a tournament situation where I have that possibility? And one thing that I thought of is that when you basically stream pinball machines, like you have these Bally Williams and you have the newer Sterns and such, right? They're usually like the score camera on those games has a pretty standard position, right? So you kind of have it. I have mine right here, where I kind of just like shoot like straight at the display and kind of blow it up and kind of make it look as good as I possibly can, right? When you move this rig over to a classic game, right, all of a sudden you're in a ton of shit, right? Because your camera is down here and you're trying to shoot up, like the score is usually like up in the upper left corner, right? So on an EM game with reels, that will like cut off letters. It will be difficult to kind of capture the whole back class, right? If it's a game with a 4-player game and there's like reels in each of the corners, right? So what you can do then is just like you have your 4th camera, which you just can put in your multi-viewer and have it basically up here somewhere, right? So you basically have it at eye level and go in. So then you all of a sudden you won't cut off as many letters and such, right? And at the end of the day, just having a simple Sony ZX405 sitting there, it will barely eat any electricity whatsoever if you're running on battery, right? So you might as well just have it there. And you just have a simple way in OBS to switch which score cam you want to have, right? So there's definitely benefits to it. There's also like another kind of use case for the 4th camera is sort of like that, like you have a sort of a situational camera, right? I mean, what I want to kind of say with that is sort of there's always a lot of things going on around like the game being streamed. There's a tournament going on, and there's like down to the last game, there's usually a lot of people standing around, and there's kind of like a lot of things. One thing I can kind of think of that happened just recently with the at Indisk, right? So down to the last game on Flash Gordon, when Escher kind of like just like was looking at the display and he kind of slid out of the main player view, and immediately when he saw he passed the score, he ran to grab his dad. And what you could have had in that situation is that you could have had you can put like a GoPro with like a super wide angle, so you kind of capture the whole vibe, what's going on around the game, right? And not just like those very narrow, like the player cam, and you get the play field and the score cam, right? There is so much other things going on around the game that you kind of might want to capture one way or another, right? But it's also difficult to kind of do that switch over live and all that to make it look good. But I mean, that's always an option, right? All right. Anyway, I'm not going to talk about this anymore. I'm just going to I'm going to just record a few sample games. I think I hit like a 600 million game the last stream, so I'm sort of going to try to hit a score similar to that to make sure that there's a comparable game to kind of compare, like this one and the one where I'm actually using the whole enchilada of inputs. You opened this door with a keen imagination. One thing that you will notice with this game and the previous game that I recorded last week is I've kind of moved my player camera further back in the frame, and that will obviously look a little bit weird because I think the other view I think was cut like very close to the glass here somewhere, and it's a slightly different angle. It's a little bit higher up and whatnot, so that will kind of look a bit weirder. But at the end of the day, it's I mean, the main thing we kind of care about here is the play field anyway, right? Because that's kind of where all the action is. And there was one comment on a forum when I talked about this multi-viewer that you're going to have problems kind of watching the score cam when you have this setup, and I just think that is like the least thing I'm worried about. I'm also going to claim my position here in score bits and enable auto claim mode, or the hog mode as we call it. Yeah, I also positioned the mic a little bit different. I don't know if this is gonna work or not, but I'm always working on things with this damn rig, right? To make sure that it sounds good and kind of looks good, whatever. All right, game one. No, that was a big miss. Gumball! Oh, it feels like I haven't played pinball for... Yeah, put it in the rock. Great. All right, the bumpers work. Check. Oh my God, come on. What is this? Camera? No. Lock. I sort of like tapped it and saved it, but I fucked it up, of course, because there's a big rubber on that bumper right there. Post. Let's do multi-ball first. just like completely fondling everything. Couldn't get anything together there. I wanted to be, yeah, I missed my kind of trick with the staging there. Town Square. Yeah, it's still running. Stream is still running. Worked all of a sudden. Oh, this is gonna turn to shit. Oops. Planet 886 is giving me 500 bits. Thank you, sir.
Time is a one-way street, except in the Twilight Zone.
Figure out which one is which. You need to move down. There we go. Yeah, I'm sort of running with a temporary setup today. That's why might be a little bit ad hoc today. Yeah, it's still me.